Welcome back everybody to the Trepang lore series, where in today's episode, we will discuss the Jorvik Castle and Kellington Colliery. This video will be divided up into two sections, the first being all in-game / developer confirmed information, and the second being my own theories as to where the world and story may go in the future. Dr. Emerson's files show that Horizon was sending scientists and biological material to Jorvik Castle in the UK. The castle is owned by a violent and heavily armed cult. The cult leaders, known only as the Patriarch and the Enforcer, must be eliminated. Intel suggests that a high-ranking Horizon scientist, Dr. Kramer, is conducting research at the temple. 106's orders are to capture or kill. Jumping in through the skylight, 106 enters Jorvik Castle, and right off the bat we can find a paper from March 14th, 2035 that reads, Horizon Corporation's strategic divisions mobilized. Concerns arise over intentions. In a remarkable display of military might, Horizon Corporation, renowned as the world's largest private military contractor, has deployed its formidable forces in the Pacific region. With over 100,000 personnel and a vast array of military assets, including aircraft carriers, fighter jets, helicopters, and tanks, the corporation's move has raised eyebrows and sparked concerns among nations worldwide. The mobilization of Horizon Corporation's 3rd, 5th, and 9th strategic divisions marks a significant escalation in the influence of the private military industry, with their stellar reputation for both military prowess and groundbreaking biotech advancements. And then the paper cuts off there. Meeting up with Spectre Team, 106 overlooks a courtyard and expertly clears out the cultist without alerting anyone, and I totally got the achievement on my first try. Hopping down there, 106 pops smoke and brings in more TF-27 forces to keep the courtyard secure. From here, 106 moves deeper into the castle in order to hunt down his first target, the Enforcer. Entering a large hallway, 106 finds another newspaper from March 23rd, 2035 that reads, Insurgents surrender. Historic peace in Aurora Islands achieved. After 5 grueling years, the Aurora Island conflict has reached its long-awaited conclusion, with the leader of the notorious insurgent group, Attila Bofadius III, signing a surrender treaty personally with the Horizon Corporation's CEO, Anton Lazar. This monumental achievement not only marks the first time a private military has been contracted by the United Nations, but also signals the dawn of a new era for the Aurora Islands, one free from the perpetual violence and instability caused by the interference of world superpowers. Throughout the 20th century, the Bofadius insurgency valiantly withstood the pressures of these superpowers during the Cold War, frustrating their attempts at military intervention. Horizon Corporation is eager to take credit for these remarkable achievements. Moving along and fighting through more cultist forces, we can find a drone tucked away that reads, Data package, mission to terminate Subject 91. Upload complete. Task Force 27 Log 315. Deploying Subject 106 against message corrupted. Is ill-advised. There's a possibility message corrupted. End of transmission. 106 eventually enters a makeshift hospital and watches as another TF-27 team makes entry before approaching the Enforcer's position. After a short fight, 106 is able to kill the Enforcer, and as he does so, Horizon forces arrive in an attempt to stabilize the situation. Taking them out and moving on to locate Patriarch, 106's vitals suddenly spike as he hears Patriarch's voice in his head, saying he isn't the first to hunt him and that there was more that he killed, and he wishes 106 will spare him the sin of killing another brother. Returning to the courtyard and fighting off Horizon forces, TF-27 loses contact with Spectre 3 after they were able to capture Horizon scientist Dr. Kramer. So 106 is sent back into the castle to locate them. Encountering and eliminating Horizon scientist Dr. Ramsey, 106 is able to hear him say something about the cultists' research being vital, but not much else of importance. Finding a handful of dead Spectre 3 men, 106 moves on and finds a strange recreation of a suburban neighborhood with the rest of Spectre 3's dead laying all over, as well as what's left of Dr. Kramer's corpse. Finding a helmet cam of one of the unaccounted for Spectre 3 members, 106 is ambushed by Patriarch, who sends in waves of cultists before sending in a flesh golem made from the remains of the unaccounted for Spectre 3 operative. After we kill it, the director chimes in and mentions that this was the cultists' attempt at making another super soldier. Finding some dual-wield serum, 106 injects himself and is now able to do that now for some reason. Returning to the courtyard, 106 chases Patriarch down an elevator as TF-27 holds off the encroaching cultists. Taking out HVT Sokol, 106 eventually reaches the Patriarch in his throne room. As 106 fights Patriarch, he throws everything at him, including another flesh golem, and after taking them all out, 106 kills the Patriarch, and in his dying breath he says, "Break this cycle." Not long after this raid, the surviving cultists make a new base out of an abandoned coal mine, and are recruiting new followers, as well as rearming themselves by carrying out guerrilla raids at night. 106 is sent in to eliminate them before they once again grow into a larger threat. Arriving at Kellington Colliery, 106 fends off waves of cultist remnants and is able to kill Chaplain, the Alchemist, and the Archivist, putting an end to the growing threat, at least for now. And with nothing else of note, let's move on to the intel. To begin with, Dr. Kramer, Log 1. I'm now supervising the cult's experiments. It's my job to gather data and assess if there is anything usable in their insane methods. I report every 30 minutes. If I miss one, or if my heart rate monitor goes too high, a Black Ops team will arrive and kill everyone, leaving no traces behind. I must remain objective. The cultists are fanatical and delusional, but there's a chance that some of their methods may prove useful. Dr. Kramer, Log 2. I'm beginning to feel skeptical about the cult's experiments. It's clear that their methods are dangerous and unsound, and I have yet to see any real progress. Perhaps they were not entirely honest with their promises. Cultist Dr. Entry 1. Today I took inventory of the cadavers from Dr. Kramer's shipment and was pleased to find that we have a bountiful supply for our studies. Only the most faithful and pure of heart shall be granted the gift of eternal life. I am the chosen one, the gatekeeper to the afterlife, and I shall not waste my power on the unworthy. Cultist Dr. Entry 2. We have discovered the secret to imbuing life. Through the use of lightning, alchemy, and faith, we shall build an entirely new being, a new creation that shall serve as a testament to the boundless potential of our devotion to the Patriarch. Librarian Entry 1. Many moons ago, we were led by a council of elders, but it was not long before a powerful figure emerged. The Patriarch. Under his rule, we have become a formidable force, waging war against the nefarious cabal. Librarian Entry 2. Jorvik Castle, built by the fierce Vikings, was later occupied by the Romans and then by wealthy British noblemen who excavated it and made it their dwelling. Now, it serves as our sacred temple. Mysteriously, all previous inhabitants have vanished after residing within these walls. Its history is rich and fascinating, and we, the librarians, shall keep records of its past for future generations to ponder upon. Librarian Entry 3. Ages ago, barbarians attempted to decipher the mysterious tablets, but alas, they were not meant to understand the wisdom contained within. They nearly succeeded in their ascension, but were foiled when discovered by the Romans and brutally killed. Their blood stains the pages of our holy texts as a reminder of the dangers of attempting to unlock knowledge not meant for the uninitiated. Librarian Entry 4. We are not proud of our collaboration with the Horizon Corporation. However, their sacrilegious technology shall aid us in our quest for knowledge and power. We have already converted some of their staff to our cause, and their CEO, a young and ambitious man, reminds us of our own Patriarch in his prime. Together, we shall unearth secrets and ascend to glory. And to summarize the last few entries, first we have a cultist's journal that chronicles his journey from an apprentice to a devoted follower of the Patriarch. Initially, he leaves his old life behind, including a job at Horizon, to find purpose for himself and his family. As he undergoes the rigorous training at the cult's hall, they grapple with the demanding schedule and notice the absence of women and children. Over time, doubts and fear arise, but their faith remains steadfast, especially after the birth of their child, though his wife dies during childbirth. Fully committed, he undergoes initiation, symbolized by having a mask welded to his face. By the final entry, the cultist is prepared to sacrifice himself as a martyr, having learned to make firebombs, believing that his death will cement his legacy and unify his brothers. Next, we have the Enforcer's logs, which reveal his transformation from a former soldier haunted by a war to a devout follower of the Patriarch. Initially, he finds purpose and belonging in the cause, replacing the nightmares of his past with dreams of dying in battle for his new beliefs. His training focuses on raiding the homes of non-believers whom he views as weak and deserving of punishment. In preparation for a cataclysmic event, the Enforcer devises a doomsday plan to ensure survival within thick stone walls, stockpiling provisions, and maintaining discipline while teaching others how to purify water and forage for food. And finally, to summarize all of the Patriarch's speeches, he describes a cabal's rise, a shadowy force that has infiltrated society and threatens to besiege their holy sanctuary. The Patriarch urges his followers to remain vigilant and united in their faith as they approach their destined judgment. Following this, he celebrates the monks' transformation from humble beginnings into crusaders. The Patriarch encourages them to fight with unwavering determination against this cabal, emphasizing that even in death, they must show no doubt. In one of his last messages, he acknowledges their defeat, not by the enemy but through betrayal from within their own ranks. Despite the grim situation, the Patriarch insists that their sacrifice will plant the seeds for future resistances, and the eventual breaking of this oppressive cycle. Patriarch even leaves a message for 106 that simply says, "Beware, like those you destroy, you too shall become." Moving on to high-value targets, on this mission we have the Patriarch, name unknown. The Patriarch is the reclusive leader of a heavily armed cult that engages in mass kidnappings and terrorist attacks. Our intel suggests that the Patriarch collaborates with Horizon, supplying them with unknown goods in exchange for weapons. Enforcer, name also unknown. Not much is known about this mysterious and enigmatic enforcer. He is responsible for training and equipping the cult's militants. His position suggests he comes from a military background and is proficient with weapons. Clark Wilkins, aka Archivist. Wilkins is a former academic and historian turned cultist officer. He joined the cult seeking a more unconventional lifestyle. His extensive knowledge made him the ideal person for preserving the cult's history and planning its future. He meticulously keeps records and provides insights based on his knowledge of historical events. Wilkins' exceptional memory allows him to remember the contents of thousands of books. In the event of the library's destruction, he is designated to rewrite all of the books from memory, ensuring the cult's knowledge and history are not lost. Dr. Alexander Wildman, aka Alchemist. Dr. Wildman had just completed his residency when the 2020 pandemic hit. He saw firsthand the devastation and loss of life that the virus brought upon his patients. Unable to cope with the stress and the trauma of the situation, he left the healthcare industry. At his lowest point, he discovered the cult, and the Patriarch convinced him of his true calling, to transform the world through alchemy and mystical means. Abandoning the scientific knowledge that couldn't save his patients before, he now spends his days brewing potions and shunning modern medicine, claiming to have found the true path to healing. Chaplain, real name unknown. Little is known of the chaplain's life before the cult. In his current role, he is known to lead raids on medical facilities to steal supplies. He is often seen at the Patriarch's side and is likely one of his most trusted men. Next, we have Horizon Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Richard Kramer. Dr. Kramer is a world-renowned and controversial scientific researcher, having won numerous prestigious awards for his groundbreaking research and the discovery of treatments for once deadly diseases. While Dr. Kramer's achievements have garnered significant acclaim, it is only made possible by his complete disregard for ethics. We have confirmed reports that Dr. Kramer used his influences to bypass regulations and protocols, conducting mass experiments on human subjects without consent. Next is Sergei Ivanovich, aka Sokol. Ivanovich was once a feared Spetsnaz soldier, known for his ruthless tactics and deadly results on the battlefield. His reputation was marred by numerous war crimes, eventually causing his superiors to turn against him. With no other options, Ivanovich surrendered to Horizon military contractors on the battlefield, who saw value in his deadly skills. Ivanovich is greatly despised by his teammates for his past atrocities, but when a mission calls for intimidation and destruction, Horizon deploys Ivanovich along with a team of handlers to keep him under control. And finally, we have data analyst Dr. Walter Freeman Ramsey. Dr. Ramsey specializes in combat research, aiding leaders with data-driven decisions. Despite his limited combat experience, he often accompanies assault teams to record their tactics firsthand. And that is all the lore on these two missions, so let's talk about a few things. First things first, let's talk about the Patriarch, aka Subject 91. We have yet another super soldier, like 106, 105, and 95. Somehow, Patriarch went rogue, found the cult, and unified them under his rule. However, what's more interesting is his mentioning of previous brothers, i.e. previous super soldiers. Now the question is, who might these individuals be? Well, we might actually know. Zooming into Patriarch's helmet, we see written across his forehead the Roman numerals for 91, 69, nice, 104, and 85. With Patriarch being 91, that leaves Subject 69, nice, 104, and 85, who were likely sent to eliminate Patriarch before 106, and these three likely all died by his hand. There's also no real evidence to back this up other than the similar colors, but a part of me wonders if the Patriarch's mask is made with the melted remains of the previous super soldiers' medallions. Essentially, after he killed them, he would reforge his mask and add another face, or another sin. Now, how, why, and when Subject 91 went rogue, likely from the Syndicate, we just don't know. but we know he is someone who broke this elusive cycle, and he wishes the same for his brothers, his fellow super soldiers. Moving on to perhaps the most interesting thing about this cult, their research. Whatever it is, it has vast mutagenic properties, almost similar to Pandorium. If you were to shoot a mask off a cultist and get a good look at their faces, we can see that they're in the process of being mutated into something. This mutation is perhaps the most severe when looking at the martyrs or the alchemists, as their faces are just not there. Looking at the images associated with Librarian Entry 2 and Cultist Doctor Entry 2, we can see whatever is in this castle is straight out of the thing, and somehow the cultists harnessed its power. So again, this begs the question, what is it? Well, going back to the intel, the mysterious tablets referenced by the Librarian entries are likely key to the cult's quest for ascension. These tablets may contain ancient pre-human knowledge that the cult is trying to decipher to unlock the secrets of life and immortality. The fact that previous attempts to understand them resulted in bloodshed suggests that the knowledge they contain is too dangerous for the uninitiated. Horizon Corporation's involvement in the excavation of these tablets could imply that they too are attempting to harness this power. Not only that, but the cult's obsession with immortality, firebombs, and martyrdom suggest that they are trying to bring about a cataclysmic event to fulfill their vision of ascension. The Enforcer's logs and doomsday plans indicate that the cult is preparing for a post-apocalyptic world where only the faithful will survive. Their belief in sacrificing themselves to unite their people could be a precursor to a massive, self-destructive event that wipes out everyone but the chosen few who are biologically or spiritually altered. Horizon, aware of this, could either be trying to stop the cult for their own reasons or using the cult's actions as a cover for their own goals. This, to me, almost paints the cult's actions and whatever they found that's causing the mutations in an almost Lovecraftian light. The cult's transformation into monsters is a clear indication that they've tapped into something far older and more sinister than mere technology or biology. Something cosmic, unfathomable, and beyond human comprehension. This aligns with the core themes of Lovecraftian horror, where the pursuit of forbidden knowledge leads to ruin, madness, and mutation. Lovecraft often depicts knowledge as a corrupting force, where those who attempt to comprehend it are either driven mad or physically transformed by the encounter. The mutations in the cult could be the result of trying to channel or comprehend this knowledge, much like the effects seen in Lovecraftian stories, such as At the Mountains of Madness, where exposure to alien civilizations and their technology lead to horrifying consequences. The mutagenic properties the cultists are experiencing seems to mirror this idea. Whether it's the cultists' attempt to harness these powers or merely being exposed to the remnants of a godlike entity, they're being rewritten at a molecular level. This power might be similar to Pandorium, but it's likely more dangerous and chaotic in nature. This could explain why their bodies are in the process of transformation, halfway between man and monster, as they transition into vessels for whatever eldritch force they are worshipping. In fact, the Patriarch's transformation could be more than just going rogue. It might be a result of him coming into contact with this eldritch power. If we look at the nature of the cult's mutations, particularly the mutations of the alchemist, who seems to have lost his face entirely, it suggests that the power they've unearthed has the ability to strip away humanity itself. Their bodies are twisted and molded into something inhuman, and perhaps, like in many Lovecraftian stories, their minds are just as warped, making them willing servants of a larger cosmic force. This ties back to the idea of mutation, as the cultists may be aiming to create a new species, reshaped by the tablet's knowledge to survive in a post-apocalyptic world where eldritch forces reign supreme. To take it one step further, the cult might not view these mutations as curses or even disfigurements, but rather as the first step toward becoming a god themselves. This echoes certain elements in the Cthulhu mythos, where humans who come into contact with eldritch beings begin to evolve, or devolve, into forms that are closer to these ancient powers. The cultists' misshapen faces could signify that they have become something so far removed from humanity that even recognizable features are no longer necessary. The Patriarch and his cult may see these mutations as signs that they are on a path to transcendence, turning themselves into something that can survive in this new world they're hoping to create.